Your name and your race?
Jack Cox, I'm white.
Okay, what is stereotyping to you?
Stereotyping is when people make assumptions based on someone's race.
Stereotyping to me is to say something about a certain race or ethnicity that might not be true for the whole race, implying something about them.
Stereotyping is when you label someone based on their race. So you basically make your decision or the way you think of that person based on their race.
Stereotyping to me is when you judge someone, prejudging someone based on the color of their skin or by the way they look.
Stereotyping is when you label somebody without really knowing who they are.
I guess when people decide that you're supposed to act a certain way or be a certain way based on your color or your religious background.
Do you consider stereotyping racist?
No.
Awesome.
Do you want me to get out why?
Yeah, why? I guess.
Because some people just stereotype without meaning to be racist. They're just ignorant.
In a sense, but it could actually be used because when you go and get your license, you have to state what race you are. So it could be racist, but sometimes people use it just to describe a person, but most times it's sadly used for negative reasons.
Not necessarily, not always.
Not always. So what is not always?
You could judge someone based on their clothing. That's not necessarily racist.
Not necessarily. There's different types of so I don't think it's just
Well, it can be racist, but if you stereotype based on race, it is. But you can stereotype based on what car they drive and other things. So no.
Do you stereotype?
I hope not.
I guess sometimes, unintentionally.
I try not to, but I think at some point maybe sometimes we all do it, but just to the degree.
Yes, everyone does.
I'm sure I do.
Do you believe stereotyping is a major issue?
Yes.
Yeah? Why is that?
Well, just here in America, look we can't even really say we're Americans, right? I have to say I'm black. I can't say I'm an American because people don't look at it like that. There's people that get offended because I won't say I'm African American, but I haven't been to Africa. I have no descendants that I know of personally or experience that are from Africa. So, the same thing goes with Mexican people. They could have been here for generations and still call them Mexican American, Irish American, or it seems like only, I would say, Europeans from a long descent are the only ones that actually claim American. Everybody else is hyphenated American. So that in itself is racist.
Depends if people take offense by it.
It's not a major issue. People are going to do it either way. It's not a major issue. We have bigger issues than that, but...
What bigger issues do you think we have?
What bigger issues?
Just off the top of your head. Not the biggest one, just one of the issues.
Like, social issues? Well, the differences between, social classes?
Social classes.
Yeah, in a lot of cases it is. Because when my family came to this country, we were stereotyped because we're immigrants or whatever. So it affects it.
How has stereotyping affected your own behavior and your behavior towards others?
I guess just being more cautious around people.
Like, say if you're driving on the road and you see an Asian driver, are you gonna cuss and be like, "Damn Asian drivers"? Are you gonna drive more carefully because you think Asian
No, I
drivers?
would not. But if I see they're driving kind of weird, I might be more cautious. But I have a reason to drive first.
So as long as there's reason behind it.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to make friends with people that are outside of your race for the most part. You have that whole dealing with the police thing because I'm black, we have that. They don't like them, they don't like us or something. But on other levels like that, I've experienced like people you can't like really date certain people because of that. You know, I've had relationships broken up because their parents didn't want them dating a black people. Yeah, racism is bad.
Because
Like, take it like this.
Are you white?
There are
Do you think
negative
you're better than
stereotypes
everyone,
towards
or
some
no?
races. Do you like, when you see that certain race, will you like think
Oh.
differently? Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't hang out over there. or something like
not
that?
necessarily the race, but it depends on how they look. So I guess it could.
Not me personally, but people I know. It affects the way they think.
There's a negative image of the race, but it's not true because you can't have everyone of every race be the same. So it's
How has stereotyping affected how you view your own race and other races?
When I was younger, it was probably worse. But as I've grown up, I kind of realize now that there's good and bad in every race. So you kind of have to judge people individually. But for the most part, I think like sometimes I look at my own race and I get disappointed because sometimes I think that they buy into the stereotypes themselves, and so they act a certain way, they portray themselves a certain way, which allows people to continually view the masses as that.
Do you think all white boys are party boys, for example?
For example. Yes. Well, no. I mean, there's like genres you could call it, but most white people like to say you will automatically think that way of other people based on how your first impressions are about a certain race.
Stereotypes that are funny because they're about your own race, and you know they're not. Sometimes they're true, you know, so it makes it funny. So I don't know. I don't really take stereotypes seriously though.
it's in your own race. So like if you're white, people only see like white trash or something, even though that's not true. Because I came from a lot of people that are intelligent, you know.
Well, maybe sometimes like when you're angry about something against a certain race, like let's say like a white person or like a black person or anyone of a different color than me, if they do something to make you mad, and then maybe you blame the color of their skin instead of what they did, like, oh, he's this color, he did this because he's like that, instead of like what he did.
Based on your the stereotypes of your race, do you push towards those stereotypes or break away from them?
Both.
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 That's it.
Break away from it.
Break away from it.